It's pretty.
Pretty? What are you doing, Mona?
I'm drawing pictures.
But we're supposed to be studying.
But I've already studied and I'm fine.
Really? I'm really worried about this test. It's gonna be really hard. Look, have you studied the pie graphs and the bar graphs and trigonometry?
No, I forgot about that one.
We have to know all of this.
I'm worried now too.
That's right, you still have time to study. Here.
Hi
Take some
girls,
pens.
what are you doing?
I mean, we're just studying. We have a really big maths test coming up.
And I'm scared.
Wow.
I'm
Yeah.
not ready.
You both look really worried. Look at your faces.
There's so much to do. I don't know if we're gonna get it. And I don't know.
Well, don't be stressed out. Remember, God is with you. And when you trust Him, He'll always help you. So, have you prayed for yourself and for your test?
I haven't actually.
Well, pray for yourselves and then you can pray for each other as well. And I'll pray for you too.
Thank you.
Miniatuns.
أوين واسميان إثقاتاش ما اختيتي ملكوثاخ إهوي صوياناخ إكناد وشمية وبرها هونا لخما سنقان يومانا وشوقلا خوبين إكناد بخنا شواق خياوي لا تعلى النسيان إلا بصل من بيشا مطل دينا خيم الكوثاخ خينا ودشبخت العالم قال منامي.
Hi, welcome to Asika TV. We're here today with the last episode of this season and we're so glad that you could make it. Today, we're learning that God is holy and He has the ability to change us. We're going to dig into a Bible story about what happened to Moses. God is so holy that Moses couldn't look directly at Him. Some things are just too much to look at directly, and that's how special God is. In fact, when Moses spent time with God, his face glowed just from being around our holy, holy God. Let's find out more in the Bible. The Bible isn't an ordinary book. It's God's book for us, full of stories that show how God is holy. As we explore His Word today, we'll experience how holy He is. Let's start. In today's Bible story, we'll see how God showed just how holy He is. One word used in the Bible to describe God is holy. Holy means something is really, really special. Another way to describe something as holy is to say that it is set apart. We're going to see how a man named Moses just saw how special and holy God is. Moses got to experience God, and he was even able to see God. Wow. We'll look at 4 ways that God showed Moses how holy He is. And then we'll talk with each other about some of those ways. As we do, we'll have times of silence for prayer.
Amy,
Yes.
why are we in this?
Tent.
Yeah.
Good question, girls. We'll find out. But first, why don't you tell me a prayer request you have? Something that you would like God to do for you.
Well, you saw us studying for the test earlier.
Yes.
I would like for God to help me pass the test.
That's a good one.
And I would like God to help me concentrate to study.
They're very good prayer requests. And I'll pray those for you. And you can even pray for each other as well. Okay? In the Bible, Moses spent some time in a special tent where he talked with God. So we'll read more about it in the book of Exodus, chapter 33, verse 7 to 11. Moses took his tent and pitched it outside the camp, far from the camp, and called it the tabernacle of meeting. And it came to pass that everyone who sought the Lord went out to the tabernacle of meeting, which was outside the camp. So it was, whenever Moses went out to the tabernacle, that all the people rose, and each man stood at his tent door, and watched Moses until he had gone into the tabernacle. And it came to pass, when Moses entered the tabernacle, that the pillar of cloud descended and stood at the door of the tabernacle, and the Lord talked with Moses. All the people saw the pillar of cloud standing at the tabernacle door, and all the people rose and worshipped, each man in his tent door. So the Lord spoke to Moses face to face, as a man speaks to his friend, and he would return to the camp. But his servant Joshua, the son of Nun, a young man, did not depart from the tabernacle. Wow. So it seemed like the tent was a special place for prayer.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
God is holy, and he made a special way for us to talk to him. We call that prayer. In the Bible, God had a special holy place where he talked to Moses, because God is holy and set apart. Moses was able to go to that place and talk to God like a friend. We can talk to God like he's our friend too. Imagine you're in the tent of meeting. What would you talk to God about? You don't have to worry about using fancy words. Just talk to him like you talk to a friend. Tell him what's on your heart and what you'd like for him to do. Since the tent of meeting was a place for Moses to pray about other people, you could also pray to God for your friends. The Israelites had to go to the tent of meeting to talk to God. But now we can talk to God anywhere, and when we do, God changes us. So we just had a look at the first way that God showed Moses how holy he was. And now we're going to have a look at the second way. In the Bible, Moses led the Israelites across the desert. He was worried that God couldn't go with the Israelites as they traveled. When he talked to God about it, God promised to be with them. Then Moses had a special request. Listen as I read from the same chapter, verses 18 to 23. And he said, "Please show me your glory." Then he said, "I will make all my goodness pass before you, and I will proclaim the name of the Lord before you. I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion." But he said, "You cannot see my face, for no man shall see me and live." And the Lord said, "Here is a place by me, and you shall stand on the rock. So it shall be, while my glory passes by, that I will put you in the cleft of the rock, and will cover you with my hand while I pass by. Then I will take away my hand, and you shall see my back, but my face shall not be seen." Wow! Can you imagine what it would be like to have God's hand cover you? Try and imagine it. Moses wanted to see God's glorious presence, but God is so holy that he couldn't even let Moses see him from the front. God is holy and he has the ability to change us. When Moses saw God pass by, it changed him. Before today's story, God gave Moses 10 rules. He called them the 10 Commandments, and they were carved onto 2 big pieces of stone, really heavy. But Moses smashed them when he saw that the Israelites were breaking some of those rules. So God wanted Moses to go and climb up a mountain so that God would meet with him and make a new set of rules, a new set of commandments. While Moses was up on the mountain, God met with him in a new way. And this is the third way we're going to learn about. Let's read about it in Exodus chapter 34, verses 5 to 6. Now, the Lord descended in the cloud and stood with him there and proclaimed the name of the Lord. And the Lord passed before him and proclaimed, the Lord God, merciful and gracious, long-suffering and abounding in goodness and truth. After God came down in the cloud, Moses threw himself on the ground and told God that he was sorry for the things that he had done wrong. God is so holy, and he has the ability to change us. When Moses came down from the mountain, something looked different about him. As you listen, see if you can discover what it was that was different about Moses. We'll read from verses 29 to 30. Now, it was so when Moses came down from Mount Sinai, and the 2 tablets of the testimony were in Moses' hand when he came down from the mountain, that Moses did not know that the skin of his face shone while he talked with him. So when Aaron and all the children of Israel saw Moses, behold, the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to come near him. Wow! What would you do if you saw someone with a glowing face? Let's keep reading. This time we'll read from verses 31 to 35. Then Moses called to them, and Aaron and all the rulers of the congregation returned to him, and Moses talked with them. Afterward, all the children of Israel came near, and he gave them as commandments all that the Lord had spoken with him on Mount Sinai. And when Moses had finished speaking with them, he put a veil on his face. But whenever Moses went in before the Lord to speak with him, he would take the veil off until he came out, and he would come out and speak to the children of Israel whatever he had been commanded. And whenever the children of Israel saw the face of Moses, that the skin of Moses' face shone, then Moses would put the veil on his face again until he went in to speak with him. Wow! Why do you think being with God changed Moses' face? We don't know exactly what Moses' radiant, glowing face looked like, but we know it was different enough to scare the Israelites. Moses looked different just from spending time with God. That's because God is holy and he can change us. God doesn't necessarily give you a glowing face, but he changes you on the inside. In what ways might we be different after spending time with God? What can you think of? Let's spend more time with God. This time, we'll spend time also praying for our friends as well as ourselves. God is so holy that his glory is too much to understand. We might wish we could see him and feel him the way that Moses did, but even Moses had limits in what he could experience about God. Being with God changed Moses from the inside out. People could see how God changed Moses because Moses' face glowed. Spending time with God changes us today. It might not make our faces glow, but God is holy, just as he was then. Earlier we learned that special and holy and set apart are all parts of being holy. That's what holy means. God is with people who believe in him today, and his presence among us sets us apart. It makes us different. God is so holy that being around him changes us. It changed Moses' face, but it also changed his heart. When we're friends with God, God changes our hearts too. And being friends with God helps us reflect him to other people. God is holy and he can change us. It's important to spend time getting to know him and letting him change us. Welcome to our object lesson. So, as you can see, we've got a few things here today, and we're going to be working with glow sticks.
Ooh.
Yes. As well as our glow sticks, we've got 2 containers. One with icy cold water, very cold, and one with hot boiling water, which is very hot and can be very dangerous. So please make sure that you have an adult with you if you're going to try this at home. So ladies, I'm going to ask you to help me in this, okay? So you can each take a glow stick, and in a moment's time, when I instruct you to, Rania, I'm going to ask you to crack your glow stick and then put it into the cold water, okay?
Okay.
But don't do it yet. And Myrna, the same thing, but you'll put yours into the hot water.
Okay.
Before we do though, tell me, what do you think is going to happen to the glow sticks?
I think mine will definitely melt, and all the colour, or if there's any colour, will go everywhere.
Okay, yeah, because it's hot water will melt it. We'll have to find out. And Rania?
Well, maybe the cold water will help my glow stick to glow even brighter.
Okay, that would be really nice to see. Are you ready to find out?
Let's do it.
Okay, so when you're ready, go ahead and place them into these tubs of water.
Okay. Ooh, this water is cold.
Yeah, it would be. And be careful about your fingers, man.
Okay.
Okay, so can we see any changes just yet? Oh, I can see some colour in your one, Mona.
Well, good thing is that it hasn't broken.
Or melted.
Melted.
Is mine glowing?
No. Maybe just need some more time.
Okay.
Not yet. Okay. Oh, wow. I can see that one spot's very colourful. So we'll keep it in there for about a minute or so until we can see some obvious changes happening. Right, Rania, your one still isn't changing at all. No. Okay. So let's just have a quick look at what we have so far. Can you take them out, girls, and we'll have a comparison. Wow. That's really glowing.
Whoa!
It's shining a lot.
Didn't even know there was colour in there.
Mine's not doing anything.
Strange. Maybe it needs some more time.
Maybe.
Let's find out. Give it a few more seconds and we'll see what happens. I love glow sticks. Oh, look, I can see some more colour coming on the other side too.
What about mine?
Not yet. Not yet. Yeah. Okay, let's take them out. So, what do we start to notice? What happened in the warm water?
Well, in the warm water, it definitely made my glow stick bright and glow.
It did, and it brought the colour right easy for us to see,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But, what happened in the cold water?
There's not even any colour.
It's all
There's no glow.
Oh. Well, the warm water acted as a catalyst. That's something that speeds up the chemical reactions inside the glow stick, and it made the colour even brighter. But the cold ice slowed that reaction down and made the glow stick dim or dull. Which reaction is more like what happens when you spend time with God?
Well, didn't you say that Moses' face was glowing?
Yes, exactly.
Well, that's kind of like the hot water. It made the glow stick glow. So that's what God is like.
That's right. After Moses spent time with him, his face was glowing.
Wow.
And what things can be like the ice water that makes our light dim? Maybe not spending time with God? I think that could be like the icy water in our life. God is holy, and He can change our lives so that we reflect His light in our world. When we feel like our lights are going dim, we can always go to Him, and He'll recharge us with His light and His love, and we'll glow just like the glow stick. In our Bible story, everyone could tell Moses had spent time with God because his face was radiant. That means it was glowing. God is holy, and spending time with God changed Moses from the inside out. Moses even had to cover his face with a veil because the brightness was too special for people to look at. Do you remember earlier when we read about Moses, how he had to get a veil and cover his face? What about us? I don't know about you, but my face has never glowed after a prayer. So how can people tell that we've spent time with God? Let's dig into that. Myrna, could you read from 2 Corinthians chapter 3 verse 18 so that we'll find out how this verse explains what Moses' veil means in our lives today?
Sure. Okay. But we all, with unveiled faces, beholding as in a mirror the glory of the Lord, are being transformed into the same image from glory to glory, just as by the Spirit of the Lord.
Wow. How would you explain the glory of the Lord to someone younger than you?
That'd be very hard.
I think it just means how powerful and perfect God is, right? He's so glorious. Is there a time that you can think of where you saw someone else showing God's awesomeness or glory, power, or love? When we spend time with God, our faces might not reflect how holy He is, but our lives do. This verse says that the Lord makes us more and more like Him and changes us into His glorious image. The Bible tells us what God's image looks like in our lives. Rania, could you read from the book of Galatians, chapter 5, verses 22 to 23?
Sure. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such there is no law.
Wow. They're beautiful things. Let's go through this list and let's think about how we might have shown these fruits of the Spirit in our lives as a proof that we've spent time with God. Do you think, ladies, you could take a paper each and use the crayon and think of one of those fruits of the Spirit and how you might have practiced it lately and just write it down on your paper. Okay? Would you like me to read them out again?
Yeah, that would help.
So it says, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such there is no law.
Okay.
Well, I guess faithfulness can be shown when I go to church.
That's true. You're being faithful to
I'm
God.
going to write that down.
Huh?
And also gentleness, speaking in a gentle tone with my brothers and sisters instead of yelling at them.
Good one.
That's sometimes hard to do, but it's a good one. Would you like some more time?
Yep.
Okay. Let me know when you're nearly done.
Another one is listening to my parents.
That's true.
Yeah. I put helping my parents around the house.
That's a good one.
Okay, I'm done.
And one more,
Oh, one more for Mona.
sharing with my friends and brothers and sisters.
Okay. Also, well, hold on a minute. Are you sure that you're showing evidence of your time with God? Show the camera.
I've written it right here.
But I'm not seeing anything on your papers.
Huh. Okay.
That's because on our own, we don't have the fruit of the Spirit. The fruit begins to grow when we spend time with God. The more time we spend with God, the more He changes us to be like Him. Now, let's watch and see how your fruits glow just like Moses' face. Try using these highlighters to highlight over your words.
Okay.
See what happens. Oh, I can see some writing.
That's better.
And now I can see your examples.
This makes sense.
Now I can see that you're spending time with God. So you've got sharing, speaking with gentleness, listening to my parents.
There you go. Now you can actually see them.
And what do you have on yours, Rania?
So I've got going to church and helping my parents.
Beautiful. When we spend time with God, our faces may not glow, but our lives do. As we spend time with God, He changes us to be more like Him. He reveals His character through us. People can tell that we've spent time with God because we reflect His heart in everyday life. God is holy and He changes us to reflect Him when we spend time with Him.
Welcome to our craft lesson. Today we're going to be making cloud door hangers. Clouds can remind us of when God appeared to Moses and to the Israelites as a cloud. And we're going to make them as door hangers so when we spend time with God, no one disturbs us. But to do that, we need a few supplies.
So we'll need some cotton balls to make our cloud look really real, some glue sticks, some scissors, make sure you have an adult with you, a marker and some paper.
All right, let's get started. Myrna, since you're so good at drawing, I'll get you to draw a cloud, but at the top we've got to put a circle so we can cut it out, and that's going to hang on our door.
Sure.
So a cloud, and then the top part and a circle in the middle. See what she does. We don't need too much cotton. We're going to glue them on.
So soft. I wonder if clouds really feel like this.
They look like they do. It'd be nice to sleep on a cloud.
Okay. Is that okay?
Perfect. Okay. So we should cut it out first. So Amy, can I get you to do that?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
And before we glue our cotton on, we'll write a nice message in the middle to remind us to spend time with God. What do you think we should write? Let me think about that. What about I'm with God? Perfect. That's a nice one. Okay. Getting there. That's okay. And just get the cotton ready. We'll open it up. Did you know that cotton grows on a flower? Really? Yeah, cotton is a plant. It is. Have you ever seen cotton flowers before? I don't know, have I? They're really cool. Right, this is going to be the fluffiest cloud ever.
How you going there, Amy?
Just about done.
Perfect.
Cool.
Nice. All right. So before we glue our our cotton on, we'll write our message. You said,
I'm with God.
okay, cool. Right in the middle.
Nice.
All right. Now let's glue on our cotton.
So it's probably easier if we put the glue on the paper and stick all the cotton on because it's going to get stuck on.
Good idea.
Okay, stick away, girls.
Probably have to press down hard as well, just so they don't fall off. Don't put them there. Okay. Okay, thanks, Mona. So is it better if we open our cotton up? Yeah. Or you can keep them whole, however you like it. However you like your clouds to look. Okay. Ooh. What a nice reminder. Very beautiful. Okay, nice. Okay. Oh, it's stuck to my fingers. Are we finished? I think that's
Let's have a look.
That looks great. So, where do you like to spend time reading your Bible or praying? When do you like to spend time praying or reading your Bible? When Moses met with God, he talked with God face to face, like talking to a friend. We can talk with God the same way. God is holy and he deserves special time with us. When we spend time with God, he changes us. When Moses spent time with God in the tent of meeting that we saw earlier, everyone knew that he was with God because a cloud covered the entrance to the tent. You can let your family and your friends know when you're spending special time with God by hanging your cloud on the door. We've come to the end of our lesson, and here are 3 things we've learned.
I've learned that God can change us on the inside and he can change us on the outside, just like Moses.
But I learned that in order for him to do that, we need to spend time with God.
That's true, and I learned that when we do spend time with God, when we're praying and reading our Bible, that's when we can reflect God, and people will be able to see that we're spending time with God. We hoped you loved today's lesson. We did. Now that was the end of our season, but we're coming back with a new season and a brand new topic, and we can't wait for you to join us. So please stay around and look out for any new announcements coming soon. Bye!